Hello, girls, and happy January 3rd. Can y'all believe we're in 2022? Like, it is a fresh slate. Whatever happened last year, whether we're celebrating or we're learning and growing from, it happened. And we have a fresh slate to start new. It is a Monday. It is a brand new month. It is a brand new year and an opportunity for us to just start taking new steps forward to accomplish the goals that you have put on that vision board. If you have not completed that, please, 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 I strongly encourage you to get that done so that way you know what you're working towards. You guys, without a plan, it's like your nutrition and fitness. If you don't have a plan of action, what happens? You maybe do it here and there, you do it there, and then you're just kind of flailing all over the place, and then you're discouraged because you're not seeing momentum or progress. But whose fault is that? If we don't have a vision or focus to create a plan to help us know what steps to take, then we're just kind of shooting from the hip, right? And that's okay if you just want to, just kind of dabble here and there and you don't really have like concrete goals. But I'm pretty sure every single one of you that makes time to be on these calls every week or listen to the playbacks has bigger goals than just shoot from the hip, right? So tonight I have a slideshow for you. It is going to talk about time management. I think that's something, I know we've talked about it before, and actually some of the slides I kept in from the last time we kind of talked about this topic in a little bit different light back in July of last year, because I think that they're really important and give some perspective. But I also broke down time management, like what blocks of time look like and how you can create success in this business without feeling like you're tied to the business all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna screen share here. Hopefully I will do it more gracefully than I did on the call the other night. Yay, look, I had it all ready, so I didn't have to like fumble with this stupid bar at the top. Can you guys see that okay? Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so tips to avoid burnout and moving your business forward. Discipline. This isn't something we are born with. It is learned, and the more you work or flex it, the stronger it becomes. Okay. You guys are very familiar with this in your nutrition and fitness journey, right? We're wellness coaches. You have to become disciplined and have a plan of action to work towards your goals. But I want to talk a little bit about the slight edge and what you can do to set yourself apart, because I'm actually reading Atomic Habits again right now, and it's such a good reminder in all aspects of life when we're working for new goals and we're pushing outside of that comfort zone. Because when we step outside of that comfort zone, we tend to go, huh, and you feel super overwhelmed and uncomfortable. You feel super uncomfortable. And so our first thing to do is to kind of revert back and go back to the way that things were. But we don't want to be where we were last year, right? We want to grow and work towards our goals. So he talks about how so often we perceive progress as linear, and that we think that just by showing up for a couple days, a week, a month, or even 3 months, that we should have this crazy, amazing success or this major progress or momentum built. And that's just not the reality. And for some people, it may look like that, but it doesn't look like that for everyone, right? And he kind of talks about how an ice cube, if you put an ice cube and you set it on the table and the room is 28 degrees, it's still frozen and it doesn't start melting. At 29 degrees, it doesn't start melting. At 30 degrees, it doesn't start melting. At 31 degrees, it doesn't start melting. But at 32 degrees, one more degree shift, it starts to melt. But what typically happens is we as humans, we're uncomfortable in those 4-degree shifts, right? And so when we get to 30 or 31 and you sense that being uncomfortable and you feel overwhelmed, or that uncomfortable feeling becomes a little bit stronger, it's because you're right on the cusp of that next degree shift. okay, of finding that rhythm that is going to work for you. So a couple things that you can do to set yourself apart. Wake up a little bit earlier, right? We talk about this in giving yourself that time to have a morning routine and to have that quiet time and focus time in the morning for yourself. Not watch as much TV. Stop scrolling social media. It's super easy with this business because the majority of this business can be, or all of it really, can be worked right from your phone, right? So it's super easy to, I'm working, but what are we doing? Sometimes we're just scrolling, right? We're just looking at the feed or at stories or reels. And yes, we have to look at those things to engage. It's good to look at reels so you can create your own and recreate content, but that can't be the sole driving force of your business, right? For any of us to be successful. So we have to stop scrolling social media and put time limits on that. And then it's not always the easy choice or the ones that give the instant gratification, but think about where you'll be in a year or 5 years if you show up and do the vital behaviors that need to be done. And then you do the extra stuff, the fluff, that I call it the fluffy stuff, after the work is done, right? You look at reels to create your own content after your own workout is done. You've shared it on social media and you've invited others to join you, right? Okay, so overcoming your thoughts. Stop letting the things you're afraid of hold you back. Create your confidence and keep disciplined. So how do we create confidence? By showing up and taking those small steps each day, right? Conquering those little steps and those little fears in stride. You sit down to work your business. What if they say no? Rejection. What if they say yes? Now what do I do with them? We start to let all these thoughts like flood our mind. Well, what do I do if they say yes? Or what do I do if they say no? So that can deter us from sitting down and doing the invites, right? What if I don't have time to respond to them right away? We're going to talk about that a little bit in the next couple of slides. But those are the things that if we don't overcome those limiting beliefs or those fears that are looping in our head, we're less likely to show up. We're less likely to stay uncomfortable so that we grow and we find our rhythm in this business, right? Fail forward. Our choice is to overcome the fear and try and learn, or never try and never know what we could have accomplished. Who cares? Stop analyzing, take a leap of faith, and stop playing the what if game. Have the courage to fail forward until you find your voice, your formula, and your balance that works. Remember the other day for those of you who are on the kickoff call, there is never a perfect harmony or a perfect balance in any season of life. Okay. You're never going to have a perfect balance between work life, home life, being a wife, having kids, being a daughter, being a friend. There's going to be areas of life that get more attention in certain seasons. And then other areas may not have as much attention. That's not a bad thing, you guys, but we also want to be mindful that we're not neglecting our family, or that we're telling our family that we're working this business and we're showing up to work for hard things and to achieve these amazing goals that we've put on our vision board. But when we sit down to work, we scroll social media and we watch reels. Okay. When we ask our families to respect that we're growing a business from home and from our phones, and we do take a little bit of time away from them, if that's what you're doing, if that's how you're making it fit into your schedule, then we have to make sure we're working our business, right? We have to make sure that we're respecting our time and their time. So, time management. Focusing on the shit that matters. We want to make sure that we're not just doing the fluffy, fun stuff. We want to make sure that we're focusing on the activities that are going to help us grow. Doing the things that will move your business forward. So it's not always the fun, sexy things, right? And it's oftentimes the invites. The invites are going to be the thing that are going to move your business forward. And those are usually what? Many of us define them as the scariest part, right? But I'm telling you guys, and I know you've heard me say this before if you've been on the team for any period of time, The invites are the fun part. It's that feeling of the butterflies that you label it as nervous or that it's scary, but it honestly, when you start to do it, is the fun part, because that's where you get to make a change. That's where you get to implant belief into someone else, right? That's when we start to really make an impact on people. So I want you to think about that, shifting your perspective from it being scary to being something that you're excited to do, because that is where you are going to make the greatest impact on one person. Okay. Tips to create focused time: decrease distractions, turn off your notifications for social media, turn off your notifications for phone calls, or have those set work hours so that your family knows. I know if you have an iPhone, they have the new focused time. So people actually get a notification that you're busy so that they know that you're not just ignoring them, but that you're busy. Do things like that. Making sure that you have some quiet time, maybe away from the kids, away from the TV, away from the to-do list, which, because we can work this from home, it can be super easy to get distracted by all the other things happening in the house, right? Especially if you're a stay-at-home mom and you're working this more full time. All of those things can pull at you and weigh on you. But if we want this to grow like a business, we have to treat it like a business. You have to start creating business hours just like you would if you went to a 9-to-5 job. I'm not saying you have to work 8 hours a day, but what I'm saying is you need to have that structure. There is no time clock or manager that's looking over your shoulder and saying, hey, Dawn, did you wake up at 6 o'clock and did you get all your invites done in your personal development and your social media posts and your stories and, all the things for the day? No, it's up to us as coaches, as the CEO of our own business, to create those work hours and to stay committed to them. Okay. Create daily to-do lists, prioritize your day. Non-negotiables are your vital behaviors, your family time. What do those look like? You guys know when I talk about my planner, I plan out the entire week. If there's something that needs to be done above and beyond just my normal activities, which is my morning routine, my personal development, my workout, getting my invites out, doing my connects, all of that. If there's something above and beyond, let's say I need to plan content for a team call, or I need to plan or schedule out posts for the group, or I need to do a live in the group. Those all go on the calendar for that week so that I know at this time, that chunk of time is blocked out for that activity, right? So it's not just shooting from the hip and fitting it in. And I'm not saying it's always perfect. There are times that life happens and I have to shoot from the hip. I have to look at the schedule and adjust my sales. But for the most part, everything is very structured so that I know where my energy needs to be focused for that day. And I typically will look at what does the family need throughout the week? And I schedule in maybe batching out reels, live videos, team calls on days that we don't have a lot of other things going on, because I don't want to give the rest of me to my family, and I don't want to give the rest of me to my followers or to you guys. I want everybody to get the best of what I can offer, right? I want to have the most energy for everybody. So I look and see when that's going to fit best and where I'm going to have the most energy to bring value to the table. Okay. So that's when planning out your week and your schedule really comes into play. And again, focusing on the activities that really matter and are going to grow your business. Okay. And just cutting out the fluff. We can do the fun stuff too. But until you get into a rhythm with being very intentional with the vital activities, I encourage you to cut some of that out. So if you're somebody who really loves to scroll social media or to watch reels to recreate for yourself, okay, tell yourself you can do that once your invites are done for the day. Give that as a reward for you getting one of your to-dos done. Does that make sense? It's kind of like your kids. If they do their chores, maybe they get to play, they get a little bit more screen time, or they get a couple of dollars to go to the dollar store, or whatever that is. It's the same concept. Reward yourself for getting that stuff done. And then you get excited to do it because you know that you're going to get a reward for it. And it starts to empower you to take the action. Okay. Are we all on the same page? Not going too fast? Okay. So this next slide I am going to share with you is kind of chunks of time. So you guys, your business is going to look totally different in 5 years than it does right now. Okay. Just know that. And that's just life. When I first started this business, my time management looked like I was shooting from the hip. I really didn't have a schedule. I would jot down names in a notebook that I was connecting with or inviting after the kids went to bed. And I would sit there for about an hour every night. I was really good about that. And just knocking things out. I wasn't very structured. I didn't really have set business hours. And I really wasn't intentional with my boundaries either. Clarissa and I were talking recently, and that's kind of what prompted this call, is that she said that sometimes she feels, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Clarissa, that if she sends a message to somebody, she feels like she has to respond right away. She doesn't want somebody to feel like she's being disingenuous because she sends them a message and maybe they're having a really crummy day and she can't respond right away. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but I want you guys to be very clear and that you should have set business hours, but you also have to have very intentional unplug and downtime. Okay. We need to respect again that family time and the other things that you are outside of Beachbody. Okay. So that's kind of what my business looks like in the beginning. When I really was getting intentional with my days and my time and how I was spending them, it looks like this on the left. Okay. And I have put these in the group before. If you want me to send them to you guys again, what I can do is I can probably just put them underneath the video, put it in the chat. But I essentially had a to-do list. This was just a to-do list in the notes section of my phone. If you have an iPhone, these are the little bubbles that you can literally just click and it checks them off for the day. But I had a to-do list for every day of the week. My Saturday and Sunday to-do list was much smaller. Monday is a big action day, right? Because it's the first day of the week, it's a fresh start, and there are a lot of things going on to start off the week. So you can kind of see like non-negotiables were morning devotional and reading over my goals, my morning post, my workout, Instagram stories, checking my coach office because it was Monday to make sure that there weren't anything. If you guys are newer to the business, our week closes Wednesday night, so the coach office updates Thursday morning. But if there are any adjustments to coach's volume, a customer's volume, success club points, anything like that, it's usually fixed and remedied by Monday. So I am in the habit of checking it every Thursday and every Monday to make sure everybody's active, nobody's going inactive, if I need to make a coach aware of any of that information. Okay. Does that kind of make sense? So that's a non-negotiable every Monday. And then, of course, the national wake-up call. Okay. I typically don't listen to that live. I listen to that while I'm getting ready on Tuesday morning. I listen to the playback. It's just more convenient for me. And I would break down my power hour or my work sessions into power pockets. So I had a Facebook power hour, and then I had an Instagram power for, it says power 40 minutes because I wasn't spending a full hour on Instagram back then. And it tells you how I broke down my chunks of time. Right. And then I had a section where I would check into my groups, whatever challenge groups we had going, the team page, that sort of thing. And at the very end, and I don't remember what coach shared this years ago, but I really liked it. And it helped me evaluate, kind of like we do in the wellness group, how we evaluate how we did with workout, food, water, and our actions for the day. It was, you killed it, you're hired. Or today could have been better. We're going to focus more tomorrow. And it helped me start empowering on the good days and just looking to see where I could learn to improve to do better for the next day. Okay. So that I wasn't constantly beating myself up, but I was also being very honest with myself in when I was doing good and when I could improve. Okay. So again, these lists are a little bit different for each day. Just varying a little bit. The most of this part at the top is going to be the same. It's just the actions I was taking varied a little bit. So I'll share those for you guys if that just helps strike up just some things that you can focus on and how much time you can focus on them. We have several different trackers that are in the resources area of the team page. Like, you guys, there's no lack of resource to tell you exactly what needs to be done and how much time you should really be investing in those actions. And that's not concrete, right? Because nobody's running your business but you, but they're guidelines to help you evaluate where you should really be dedicating your time to grow a business. So for me now, my day looks really pretty similar, but my focus isn't as detailed as it was when I was really trying to set a routine. Okay. So my day typically starts at like 4:15. Okay. I start with morning devotionals and goals. I then read my personal development. I then go down and do my workout. I do my IG stories and a morning post. And then on Mondays, again, I would check Coach Online Office. On Tuesdays, I will do National Wake Up Call. And then I go into an action hour. And I don't always get the same amount of stuff done every time. It just depends on kind of the feel of the day and where my energy is at. But lately, and for the last couple of months, my first focus is invites, because I can do follow-ups and responding to messages in pockets of time throughout the day, or later on, I'll tell you that I work another hour in the afternoons. But the invites, I want that to be very intentional, and I want to make sure that they get done and they aren't pushed off, because they are going to be the growing step for the business, right? That is how I make the biggest impact. So that is the first action item after I've taken care of me. Okay. So I invite my 10 plus people. I then connect and engage. So that looks different. It might be sending happy birthday messages. It might be just scrolling through stories for 5 to 10 minutes. I set a timer so that I'm not getting sucked in. I'll engage and comment on people's posts or their stories. I may watch their reels a little bit. Things like that, just to engage and be social on social media, right? Because we still have to do that. And then I work on my follow-ups. So I use Teamsy, and I have, a set number of follow-ups each day. It changes every day, just depending on how many were scheduled for that day. I do my follow-ups. I don't always get those done in the morning. Okay. That's just being honest with you. If I do get them done and I have time, then I will start responding to the messages in my inbox. So this is kind of going back to what Clarissa had mentioned, that she felt like she needed to respond right away. And I get that, because I used to be the same way. And I felt like if somebody responded, I needed to respond right away. Now, there are some people you can respond back pretty quickly and still stay in your groove, because it's kind of just like a short reply or whatever. But here's the thing. I was told by a coach, and it's worked wonderfully for me, you don't get to respond until the rest of your stuff is done. It's kind of like you don't get to scroll social media until your to-dos are done. And the reason for that is because you all know you can get sucked into a conversation for an hour really freaking quickly if you hit it off with somebody. And that's beautiful. Like, that's a wonderful thing that we can connect with people on that level and we can be there for them. But you're also not going to do your business a service by only dedicating, let's say you only have an hour to one person for that day. Okay. So that's when we have to set that boundary. And you can look at it this way. Yes, we're very accessible, and we're all helpers, and we want to help people, and we want to be there for them. And it's easy to pick up your phone and have it very readily available and respond to messages. But how many people do you think would want to join you in the coaching opportunity if they thought they always had to be attached to their phone and all you ever did was respond to messages? Probably not very many, right? Because most people, like 99% of people now, are really busy anyway. Okay. So if they think that we have to constantly be plugged into the phone, they may not ever see the true value in our mission. So it's very important to work to find that balance of being very genuine and connecting and not forgetting about people. That's why I actually make it a point to clear all of my inboxes on Wednesdays and Sundays, because then I know nobody was missed, right? And if it took me a couple of days, I never apologize. Okay. I always thank them for their patience. And that's something I took from Rachel Hollis with her Stop Apologizing. I'm busy too, you guys. Like, I have a family and I have a life outside of this. And people respect that when you approach it from that perspective. Okay. So how we lead with confidence, and as a leader and as a coach and a business owner, and we are treating this like a business, people will respect that. Right? They don't call the doctor's office 24/7 and expect to talk to the doctor or even the nurses on staff, right? They have business hours, and you call during those business hours to talk to somebody. So I just encourage you to think about it from that perspective, and make sure that while you're creating work hours, that you're also creating boundaries for yourself. Okay. So I will then respond to any messages that are waiting in my inbox. Again, on Wednesdays and Sundays, I completely clear out all of my inboxes. Sometimes that means on Wednesdays and Sundays, I don't get invites out, because I dedicate and make sure that I do all of my follow-ups that are scheduled for that day, as well as clear out my inboxes and messages. Okay. And then call to action or advice in the team thread. So if you girls are in the coach thread, you know that every couple of days, if not every day, I'm trying to put some sort of call to action, whether it's, connecting with people, inviting a set number of people, what to share on your social media for the day, different things like that, just to check in with you girls. And then at lunchtime, so that's my morning block, right? I'm done. That morning starts usually by 4:30. And it's done at 7:30. 7:30, it shuts down. I have to get in the shower and I have to move to get my kids. Well, Keiston leaves early now, but get Beckett ready for school and off to school. So mom hack goes on at 7:30. Then at lunchtime, so like around noon or whenever I'm sitting at my desk eating lunch, that's when I check into my challenge groups, the team page, message threads to check in with you girls, see what I missed from the time that I was unplugged. And y'all know I am in that group when I'm really not supposed to be, but when I'm supposed to be doing other things, if I see something pop up, I'm responding, right? But that's kind of my dedicated time for that, to check into those areas of the business. And then from 3:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon, my boys are just getting home from school. They typically go out and play with friends. So that's an hour that PJ's not home from work yet. I'm home by myself, and I could be doing things around the house, but I typically sit down and tidy up, whether I need to do more follow-ups, if I need to do more invites, if I need to send any links, if any of you guys had questions. It looks different every day, you guys. It's just an hour that I have that I can kind of clean things up. Maybe that looks like preparing the evening's post, so that way I'm not worried about that. Okay. And then I make my evening post between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Okay. So that's just kind of, and you guys, don't let this scare you. I'm very far into my business, right? I have a lot of working pieces that have to have my attention now. It didn't start like this, but as many working pieces as the business has for me at this stage in the game, I'm still only working roughly 3 hours a day. And that includes my own time, right? My morning time and my workout time and personal development. So it's very doable, and you can create a very solid foundation in a successful business in working an hour a day. And that could be 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. It just has to be very intentional. And we have to make sure we're doing the activities that are going to make us grow. Right? We're not spending 20 minutes scrolling social media when we could spend 20 to 30 minutes sending invites and connecting with new friends. Does that make sense? Okay. So these next couple slides I had before, and that call we did before, but I think that they're so important. So you have done harder things. right? You have done way harder things than being a Beachbody coach. I know it seems a little scary and it's way outside of your comfort zone and it's different, but that's it. It's different, but it is not hard. What we do as coaches, the actions that we take are not hard. So there's a story that Janelle Summers told at an event, and I watched the playback of it, and she talks about how we have to learn to trust ourselves. And so if you've heard this story, just listen again. But if for those of you who haven't heard it, she talks about, so Janelle Summers is kind of our grandma bear, if you will. She is Meg, who is my good friend and who has kind of taken me under her wing. Janelle is Meg's upline. Okay. She is Shalene Johnson's sister. She is a very successful Beachbody coach, and she has been in this business for 15 years, and she is a multi-superstar diamond, like crazy successful in this business. And she went to her team one day and she was like, hey guys, like, I'm looking for somebody to do an internship with me, and I'm going to need you to have dedicated work hours, and I'm going to need you to help me do some things, and blah, 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 blah. And all these people who have been on her team and who had been coaches, whether, they ranged, right? Some of them were newer coaches. Some of them had been in it for a year, some of them 2 years, whatever. They were coaches that had kind of dabbled in and out of the business, applied for this internship. And we're all excited to work with Janelle and to have like these set structured business hours and the to-dos of what they needed to do and blah, blah, blah to be successful. She was offering them an internship to be a coach, to actually show up for their business. She wasn't offering them a paid position to be her personal assistant. And so she talks about how all of those coaches who have all of the resources right at their fingertips, they have the know, they are capable of doing it, but they don't trust themselves. We don't trust ourselves to create that structure and to show up to take the action to create the success. But if somebody says, hey, you can come work for me, and if you do X, Y, and Z, you'll be successful. You guys have all the resources at your fingertips. It's up here that we get in our own way. Whether we don't believe that we can be successful, whether we think we should have been somewhere further along by now, we're people pleasers and we're afraid of what others will think. Those are all in our head, right? Those are all limiting beliefs. Those have nothing to do with the skill, because it doesn't take much skill to be a coach, right? It takes taking action and learning along the way. It takes building confidence in ourselves. It takes trusting ourselves, and it takes being okay. And you guys, this is whether you stay with Beachbody or whatever, in any business or big goal you are pushing for, it takes trusting yourself to do the actions, to show up, and to be okay with failing forward. The only time we ever fail is when we give up. Everything else is just a lesson to be learned. It's just something to grow from. And once we make that shift that we can't fail, and we just know, okay, well, that didn't really work. That was kind of a bust. So we'll just keep going. I can't tell you, like, I love seeing all your faces. I can't tell you how many times I hopped on a team call and I had one other person on the call with me. How many times I had 0 people on the call with me. I recorded it and I kept showing up. And now look, it wasn't a failure, right? That wasn't anything that I could make or break. I learned to provide better content. I learned to be a better speaker. I learned to teach in more of the direction of the girls on the team. But you can't make people show up. I can't make people show up. All we can do is our best and show up consistently in our actions. Okay. So the next slide is 8 signs you are all in. 1 is you've created focused time and space to work your business. You don't have, guys, I sit at my dining room table. I do not have an office. Not yet, anyway. I sit at my dining room table, but this is my space, right? When my computer is here, my journal is here, and nobody else really comes in this room. So, whoa, what the heck just happened? Did you guys see that? I didn't even move my mouse. What the heck just happened? Okay, so we're just going to keep moving on. I don't know why that just appeared. But I have focused time sitting at my dining room table. Have a clear space so that you can, and try to make it the same spot. I know when I sit down at this table and my computer's in front of me, it's work time, right? It's not mess around time. I get in the zone and I go to work. Okay. So having, created focused time and space to work your business, clearing time in your schedule for work hours, checking your sponsorship drill down and coach office Sunday and Wednesday at a minimum. You do your invites and follow-ups first, and you track them. You're inspiring others with posts and content you share. You give yourself grace and do not expect perfection so you can keep growing. You have goals written down in sight to read them every single day. And number 8, to communicate your goals with your family. Set business, unplug, and family time. Set those boundaries for yourself. And then the last one is success in this business is a decision. Turn down the volume on the limiting beliefs. Be driven by consistent action rather than results. Rely on discipline, not motivation. Keep it simple. You have enough. You know enough. And you are enough. Write that one down. Keep it simple. You have enough. You know enough. And you are enough. That is all I have for you, beautiful girls, tonight. Let me see. Oh, Jackie. Jackie was drawing on our screen. I have no idea how you did that, but I was like, I'm not even touching my mouse. So there's like a ghost or something doing weird things. Set up proper expectations from a coaching standpoint too. Yes. Yep. I love it. Well, I appreciate all of you being on. Does anybody have anything that they want to add or any questions or anything? No? All right. I will let you all go. I would love to see if you guys have your business hours and your structured time. I would love to see what that looks like. Or if you have a tracker that works for you. I know that Jackie kind of made her own, kind of like Mindy had created her own. I can't think for the Happy Planner, how it's got those rings. They've created like their own tracking systems. And yeah, if you guys have anything that would be helpful or that pertains to tonight, feel free to share. It's always helpful to see what other people are doing and what helps them be successful. So appreciate you all being on. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your evening. And if you have any questions, or for the girls listening to the playback, if you have questions, just drop them in the comments and we will get them answered. Have a good night, you guys.